Oh.
So gotta go on the Canvas and update that because such is life. All right, now we're live. So gotta copy the link. Can y'all hear me?
I can hear you.
All right. I'm gonna push out this new live link real quickly.
Okay.
Because, technology. Woohoo.
I was just thinking, you remember that clip that went out where the man was doing a live interview? This is like years ago. And his daughter came in like, hey, I don't know why this is reminding me of that.
Because it's probably going to happen.
Oh, no, on my end, no. Better not.
All right. We're live. We pushed it out. Just pushed it out as an update on Canvas. We'll see if people switch to the correct stream. Yay. How y'all doing today? Yeah, we're on. Yeah. So, welcome to the third episode of the Trio Show. My name's Brandon. What's your name?
Oh, I'm Carrie Godin.
We got Rashad. His video's off right now. He'll be back in a second.
Rashad.
Hey, and then we have Stephanie Durr. She'll be on a little bit later. Really, really excited for this episode. Kind of scared because it's the staff interviewing me. I don't know how that's about to go. Maybe they're gonna take some stuff out on me because I did ask some really tough questions. Carrie hadn't even seen all her questions yet.
Oh. Wait a minute.
So we'll see what happens. But a couple announcements, just the big things going first. Please make sure you use your HTC email. We've gotten far too many emails from students from their non-HTC email, and we're not supposed to respond to those. So please use your HTC email. One of the biggest things that have just changed, we are the withdrawal deadline for the college has changed to the last day of the semester, May 12th. So talk to your TRIO advisor about your classes, your progress. It may be advantageous to you to stay in your class just a little bit longer to see if you can pull off the grade that you need, and wait to withdraw. So please, talk to us about that. Grant aid, we got one grade aid application as of right now, and the deadline's May 1st. We got more than enough students who are eligible for grant aid, so please apply. Let us know. Carrie, what do you have?
Well, the HCC email, definitely is important. Put something out yesterday about that, so I agree with you. Make sure that you are still keeping up with your advisors and your tutoring. All connections to your tutors that you had before should be going on now. If you're having a problem with that, contact one of us or contact the LAC. There is a link, I believe, on our page as well for that. And if you're still in need of a tutor, don't worry, we can still work that out at this point.
Okay. Hey, Rashad, what do you got?
So I sent out an announcement last night about the HTC scholarship application. So go ahead and complete that if you can, guys. And then also the grant aid is available for TRIO students. And a discussion post should be coming out either today or Monday. So if you can, please respond to that. We appreciate your feedback.
Okay. I do want to put out there, and I got a message from a student earlier today. So some of our discussion posts and some of the things we're putting into Canvas right now may also show up as an assignment. Don't freak out. It's really more for us as staff to keep track of who's engaging. So we really do want to make sure that our team can see who's doing what they need to do, and award grant aid to the appropriate people. We want you to engage, and we're trying to remove every barrier to making that happen. So yeah, we're working on that. Let's see what's on the script today. Let's see. Oh, please use our Starfish links. We made a lot of changes this week, so it should work a lot better. If you still can't make an appointment with us via Starfish, send us a Canvas message or HTC email. We have all year in Starfish. We'll get you set up, and see you on Zoom. I know we love seeing all y'all smiling faces. Please say smiling faces. I don't like seeing upset faces on Zoom. That's my thing. Please use HTC Stronger Together. Be kind of cool seeing some of the posts we have. We've been talking across the cohorts. Y'all want to do a TikTok challenge? Let's do it. I got TikTok.
Okay. I think my children have it.
We'll make this all happen. So yeah. So apparently today is my day to actually stop talking. So Carrie, Rashad, it's on y'all.
Okay. Do you want us to
Let's make it
introduce
happen.
you?
Yeah.
Okay. Brandon has had over a decade of experience as a higher education scholar practitioner. He is currently our Associate Director for Transfer and Graduation for TRIO, Student Support Services at Howard Community College. He previously served as Assistant Director through August 2019. Prior to that, he worked as Retention Advisor for TRIO and Academic Advisor at Prince George's Community College. Bellamy has worked extensively to ensure the retention, persistence, and completion of his students, and he has. In addition to his primary responsibilities with TRIO, he supports the work of all the programs in our Stronger Together initiative. Oh, sorry.
Hey.
Stronger Together initiative, sorry, in academic support services, and serves as a co-chairperson of the college's diversity committee since 2015 and immediate past chairperson of the Maryland Community College Academic Advising Affinity Group. Bellamy has presented globally on topics related to diversity and inclusion, advising for student completion, historically Black institutions, and developing millennial professionals. He is a 2008 graduate of North Carolina A&T State University, 2010 graduate of the Student Affairs Master's Program at Iowa State University, and currently a doctoral student in the Community College Leadership Program at Morgan State University. I guess I get the first question?
Guess so.
Okay. So as you just said, you're currently pursuing your doctorate from Morgan State. What are you learning about the balance between work life, school life, and personal life?
Ooh. Let's be honest. I've never really had really great work-life balance. When I wasn't in school, I was probably a true workaholic, putting a lot of hours. And then being in school, I still put in a lot of hours at work and a lot of hours for school at the same time. So once I got through coursework, I told my chair, I said, I need a break. And I took a little bit of a break. But that break is taking a lot longer to get myself back into the swing of doing work again, because it's no greater feeling of being able to come home, cook dinner, go to the gym, and be like, I don't have any schoolwork left to do. I've done a better job of not bringing work home. So this work from home thing is hard, because trying to find where that balance is. But in an ideal world, trying to juggle those things means taking more time off. We now have a full staff. And so one of my goals, if we ever get back to a real normal environment, is using that leave that I've earned, take some time off, use my Fridays and Mondays to do schoolwork, and then use some time to actually just do me. I miss just walking around DC. I miss traveling.
Yeah. Oh, well, you say do me. What does that mean? Do me.
I don't know anymore. I'm like I've I've made so much of my identity work. I think part of this now process is figuring out who am I, what do I like to do, what can I do. So I think that's part of this process at this point is just rediscovering who I am, and rediscovering outside of the context of what we do for our jobs. The same things that we tell our students are the same things that we also have to do.
Yeah.
We're all together a work in progress.
What you can do. If you could, what would you do? Anything.
Anything. So I've said this is actually I think a relatively new one. I would actually want to go and own a brewery.
I could totally see that.
And it's I think I've been saying it more, and it's a relatively new one. But when I look at all the stuff that I've been doing over the last few years, especially in diversity and inclusion, um, I travel the country. I like going to distilleries and breweries. When we walk in the room, there's usually not many people of color in the room, especially Black men. Um,
Mm.
and so there is a push to add diversity and inclusion in spaces like that. And I think it'll be kind of cool to do that. Me and some of my close friends have really looked into like how can we do that in a community like where I live at here in Ward 7 in the District of Columbia. Could we open a brewery? Could we actually use it for part of a workforce development program? How can we do all those fun things that incorporate the work that we've been doing? So I want to shout out to Aaron and to Jamal because that's an ongoing conversation that we have about could we do it? I think it'll be fun. And I know my boss is watching me, but I'll just put this little secret out. I love traveling to community colleges that are near breweries because it also gives me opportunity just to see, what are the opportunities for workforce development in that space. I know my colleagues at Frederick are doing some cool stuff out there. I'm trying to go to a conference in Boone because um, Asheville Buncombe Community College actually has a brew science program at the associate level. So there's some cool things I'd love to see happen.
Okay. So I have thoughts on that, but I'll go to my second question. If I'll stop. If you could choose one outlet that you think everyone needs, like universally, what would that be?
One outlet that everybody needs. What are all these tough questions?
That's not a tough question. That's easy.
I think I do believe somehow the outlet needs some ability to
You say that one more time?
the ability to have rest. I think a lot of us take that for granted. Being, I for the most part have a roommate and that's it. I don't have any other responsibilities outside of work. So rest is something that I know I can get. And it's usually me standing in the way of getting rest. But some of our students, some of our colleagues can't. I think just the ability to have rest is a huge outlet that needs to happen. So I think that's one of the outlets. I also think finding that physical activity that works for people is the other key thing. My father loves playing golf. And I tried to play golf. I'm gonna get back into it one day. But I love just walking in and just exploring random places. Like I'll drive to a random place and just walk around.
What's your favorite random place in DC?
Favorite random place in DC. So since I've been stuck at home for the most part for the last 3 weeks, I've actually done the majority of the Marvin Gaye Trail, which is in Deanwood, and the Anacostia. It's the water gardens, the Kenilworth Aquatic Gardens in Northeast. I really just love water, and I think a lot of people underestimate the value of the Anacostia River, and anything just east of the Anacostia. So I really love the aquatic gardens, and I just love the Anacostia Riverwalk Trail. So I've done it, and I started one day at the aquatic gardens, went up to College Park on the trail. So I need to get me a bike because that was a long walk.
Yeah.
But that's I think that's, you know, that for me is something that's really important to me.
Okay. Back off.
All right. So I guess I asked my question. Brandon, you have had the opportunity to attend both an HBCU, North Carolina A&T, and the PWI, Iowa State University. Please share with us your experience at both prestigious institutions.
Okay, that's the easy one. They were two tremendously different experiences, and I value both of them. I think the funny part, actually, when I got to Iowa State, I met a number of folk who went to A&T that I didn't know on campus while at Iowa State. The Black graduate student community is really small, and so we become really close. And there is a connection. You know, if you go to an HBCU, there are some underlying things that you can universally share between everybody. You have some homecoming story. You have some story about something crazy happening in administration. There was probably a protest on campus. And so my friends at Iowa State, we have those shared underlying connections. But we also have that shared connection of the fact that we were recruited from our HBCUs to come to the middle of the cornfields. And so that experience is important. Everything that I learned at A&T made me more successful at Iowa State. In one of my first classes, I had a colleague who freaked out about one of our first papers we had to write in Student Development Theory 1. I'll be honest, I didn't do well on the paper. I knew how to do it, but I didn't do well on the paper. But this student freaked out because he was like, I've never seen this. Like, you expect us to do this? And I'm like, I had to do this before. We just need to learn how the professor wants us to do the work. I did notice administratively things were a lot smoother at Iowa State than it did at A&T at that time. When you talk to students now at A&T, things that used to be problems aren't problems anymore. So it's interesting, but I'll say this much. I would never trade either experience in for the world. I met some of my best friends for life, both at A&T and Iowa State. I got to travel the world because of both institutions. And if possible, I'm sending every student possible after they finish their bachelor degree, hopefully at an HBCU, to Iowa State. I think everyone needs an Iowa experience. My father would probably say the same thing, because you really have no other distractions other than the people you meet and how far your car would take you.
Okay. Could you elaborate a little bit more on the Iowa State experience?
So I think the other thing about my Iowa State experience, that was my first time having to really also work and go to school. I had my first year, I had my assistantship in financial aid, and that was tough. I actually didn't want the assistantship, but to get into the master's program, you had to have a job, and they offered me a job because of my experience in student government. At A&T, I was student government treasurer. I did a lot of policy stuff. And so I remember Craig saying when I first got to Iowa State, he chose me because of those experiences, because he's like, you need to understand policy and rules to be able to be successful working in financial aid. That was a hell of an experience. I also worked for Science Bound, which is like an upper bound for science students. Students who do Science Bound from their 8th grade year all the way through senior year, they receive a full 4-year scholarship at Iowa State, as long as they major in the STEM field. So working in financial aid, working in Science Bound simultaneously, I got to see 2 different spectrums of the enrollment management piece. And then my 2nd year working with services, that reinforced that I love advising, and just love seeing students grow and be successful. But yeah, I had a blast. I learned a lot. I learned a lot about myself. Student development theory 2, learning about identity development is a big deal. So, you know, I still really think about racial identity development theories, critical race theory in the work that we do every day. And then every once in a while, you know, I pull out an old psychosocial theory like Chickering or Aston, just to mess with people.
Okay. At what point in time did you know that you would like to start a career within higher education?
I think it solidified when I got on the Dean of Students Advisory Council in my freshman year and figured out that, oh, you can go to college to work in college. I was an information technology major when I got to A&T. I didn't really know what I was going to do with it. I just knew I had to go to grad school. And so being on Dr. Rashid's advisory council as a freshman, I started seeing there's options. But I really think it was solidified by the time I got into my junior year. Because I was a student government officer, I was really working with a lot of student affairs professionals. And I'm like, I think this is what I'm going to do. And so I started looking at graduate programs. I got a chance to do peer advising. So all those things together, and losing my student government election probably was the best thing ever. Because I got a chance to spend that year, doing research on alumni development. I got to work closely with Dr. Joyce Brown. She was the executive director of TRIO program at A&T, and just learn more about what it means to work in this profession. So if I had won the student government election, became SJ president, I don't think I would have had some of those transformative experiences I would have had during that year when I got a chance just to, in essence, do me. I learned a lot about myself during that year. Got a chance to do some cool things with my friends that I hadn't done because I was so focused on, let me hit this next step. So like, for example, this is going to sound really crazy. Everybody in my friend group had gone on Franklin Street for Halloween. I ain't never do it my whole college career. And so AJ called me. He's like, hey, Bells, we're trying to go to Chapel Hill for Halloween. I'm like, okay. Not realizing that I had to drive. If I was SJ president, if I had all these other responsibilities, I wouldn't be able just to drop everything and say, let's do this. And I had a blast that night. So I really think just losing my election really solidified, doing this work.
So you ran for SGA president. Did you have a slogan at the time?
Oh, I'm trying to remember what that slogan was. So when I ran for treasurer the year before, my campaign stuff was horrible. Like it was classic Bellamy. One of my signs had apple plus orange equals money. I do remember one of my signs had a picture of Blank Man on it. I mean, I had some really crazy stuff when I ran for treasurer. When I ran for president, I know I had something that was a little more polished, but I really can't remember what that slogan was. I don't remember. I'm gonna have to find out. I'm gonna post it in the Canvas site once I find it. But I only lost by 4 votes.
Okay.
I bet you there's could be some people that will suggest some slogans for you.
Hey, real talk. Give me a few more years. I might run for DC Council.
All right, get those slogans out there.
I got a couple, but I can't say them on the live right now. They may not be appropriate in the academic environment. All right.
Carrie, you got any questions? You want me to keep going?
No, you go. I talk too much and I get into it. It's your turn.
I have some questions. Hi, guys.
Hey, Stephanie.
How are you?
How you doing? Okay, I don't know what Rashad saying. So,
Rashad, what you got? Metro PCS Wi-Fi?
Go ahead and give him a question. And I'll come back. Boy.
Hi, Stephanie. What's your question, Stephanie?
I'm in the back of my mom.
What he said.
I don't know. Stephanie.
Okay. Yeah, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes.
Hi. So, Mr. Bellamy,
All right.
I want to know, what do you feel like is the most important thing to remember while in undergrad? What is one constant thing that you would tell students to remember? What is something that you had to constantly remind yourself on your journey to keep you motivated and determined to reach the finish line?
I think part of it for me was just reminding myself that this is just part of a journey.
Mm-hmm.
I think early on I was always thinking about, what's next, what's the end and all that. And I wasn't really living in the moment as much as I could. I think a lot of us are trying just to hit those next milestones, just to say we did this. But looking back, I think just knowing that it's a pathway, it's a process, live within it and take some risks. I don't regret a lot of things, but I think back and say that there are some risks that I could have taken that would have been really rewarding.
Such as?
Probably having done study abroad. That was something I didn't get to do in undergrad. I also believe that some of the things that our honors program gave us access to, I didn't really fully value at the time. But I also do value the fact that Dr. Myers gave me opportunity to try to get back in after being put on honors vacation. Like his philosophy on honors vacation was this: it's a vacation. You have the opportunity to come back. You made it in honors because you earned it. You're smart. You're bright, and he wants you to come back. And so, all of that was just part of that journey. And losing is sometimes winning. I think that was the biggest lesson, but it took me a while to figure that one out, because when you give your all and you don't get what you expect out of it, it hurts. It really does hurt, but you sit down, you think about it, you talk to folk, and you realize maybe this wasn't for you. And I think I've shared that with a lot of our students, especially if they don't get into the school of their choice. I'm like, hey, maybe that school wasn't the school for you, or maybe that Greek organization wasn't for you, or this is not the time. And as I've gotten older, I think more about time. There's a time and place for almost everything, and there's a time and place for people in our lives. People leave for a reason, and they may come back if you let them come back.
That's true. Gems. So what would you say is the most exciting part about running the TRIO program at HBC?
Graduation, always.
Okay.
When we bring students in at all different points of their academic career. And I love bringing in, freshmen who don't know what's next in this journey. So to get to graduation, get to commencement is my favorite time. I love seeing it happen, because you have a student sometimes like, I didn't think I was going to walk across the stage. Or I'm the first person in my family to graduate, and I told my mama and my daddy about you. They want to meet you right now. And so, you get a chance to meet families. You get to see people that you may have done conference calls with and talk about students. And I just love that. I love just the pomp and circumstance of it, but I really do love seeing commencement, because it means that all the work that we did, all of the times when I may have yelled at a student, gone full uncle mode on a student because they walked in my office talking about, I'm not taking 15 credits, or I'm going to drop statistics because I can't XYZ. And you made it. I think commencement also, it's the end of one part of a journey and the start of another part of the journey. And so I really love seeing the start of a new relationship that we have with our students, because when they graduate, they're done with what we have in our grant that we have to do. But it starts a whole connection to, this relationship for our students. So I still hear from a number of our graduates. I love hearing from them. I love going to visit them when I get a chance. So when we do, I get to conferences. So if I'm going to statewide meetings, I always try to see who's near me, check on them, because somebody did for me. There was always somebody who, if they were coming through Greensboro and they came on campus, they want to check on me. The few times people came through in Iowa. So one of my give back is, hey, if I'm going home, and I don't know if Marcellus is watching, Marcellus knew a couple things. He knew either I'm going to stop in Petersburg on the way down to Greensboro or on the way back. I just want to see his face. I will make sure he's alive. Make sure that he's doing what he's supposed to do. Sometimes I may pop up with him on campus. I'll call Mama David and say, "Hey, I'm about to call Marcellus in. He's gonna make an appointment with you. I'm gonna come and just surprise him." And just make sure they got food. I think that's something we do already naturally, but it's something about getting a student, getting them a meal somewhere that they don't get a chance to go to. I think it's a big deal too.
Okay. So my last question is going to be fun, nothing really related to anything else. But if you could choose a song to describe your life right now, what would it be?
If I could choose a song
to describe your life at this moment, what would it be?
Ooh. Can I pull my phone up and look through my playlist?
Nope.
This is hard. Because I mean,
or excuse me, I'm drinking ginger. Sorry. What's your go-to song right now?
So I don't have a specific go-to song right now. But I love the Trail Show. I don't know if any of y'all watch it on YouTube. Trail's awesome. He put out this collaboration album. I want to say it was January, and so that album just has been in rotation heavily for me. So between that, the Trail Show's his first album, and then just my Anita Baker playlist.
Okay.
I mean, for my birthday 2 years ago, I went to see Anita Baker. I went peak uncle mode.
Yes. I love Anita Baker.
So if you come to my house right now, it's probably a playlist based off of some Anita Baker song. I will give Dr. Stevens a huge kudos for dropping Raheem, Jeff Bradshaw, and Robert Glasper's version of Prototype. That version hits in a whole different way than Raheem's by itself or even Outkast, and I love all three of those versions. Okay,
and then if you had the opportunity to put together a bowl game and there was no restrictions, like it doesn't matter what conference, which two HBCU teams would you want to see? Think about the aesthetics. Think about the colleges, think about the band, think about, just the campus life of the institutions. What's the two schools that you will put together?
I got this one. And it's one that this matchup hasn't happened in a long time. A&T versus Southern University.
Like, look at Rashad.
A&T, we're the undisputed champions of the Celebration Bowl. We've won, 4 out of the 5 Celebration Bowls. Every time we went, we won. But our issue is we've played Alcorn State and Grambling. They're the only SWAC schools have been in there. Southern, their band is amazing. Their football team's come a long way. A&T kind of follows Southern's footsteps for a minute with an insanely horrible losing record at one point. But I really think that would be probably the most epic bowl game experience in the HBCU realm would be A&T and Southern. 2 strong teams out of 2 historic conferences, huge alumni fan bases. Southern fans travel, especially if we do it before the Bayou Classic. A&T fan, I mean, we're fair weather to a point. Rashad, you got that one. We're fair weather to a point, but we travel, we roll deep. If football season comes back, I'm going to North Dakota. So I think that would be.
Okay. All right. Those are my questions.
I have another question. Can you hear me now, Stephanie?
We can hear you.
Just to let you know, I'm on AT&T Wi-Fi.
Okay, I just have to make sure.
Hey, we don't have Metro in Florida. Anyway.
Or cricket Wi-Fi. My bad.
Okay, so I'm sure every student has a well-identified mentor in college to help them develop as a student leader. Who was your mentor while in college, and how have they impacted your life and career in higher education?
Ooh. I want to say there were multiple mentors during my time in college. I'm really looking just my A&T experiences first, and each one of them did something different and worked with me differently. So I always look to Dr. Rashid because her Dean of Students Advisory Council was only for freshmen, and it opened the door to get freshmen connected to leaders. And I've always reached out to her. She's written numerous letter of recommendations for scholarships for getting to grad school. And then she also supported me when I was on the National Alumni Board of Directors. So I really do look to Dr. Rashid for how to navigate certain pieces of the higher ed experience. I looked at Dr. Valley Guthrie. She was one of my church members. She ran the GAMSEC program at A&T. She's a 1960 graduate of North Carolina A&T. And I looked at her a lot. I would pop by her office in Martina Hall after finishing a math class, and we'll just talk about just what's going on, what's happening. She gave me a lot of insight into just how things in my time were actually a little more difficult than they were when she went to school, when she went to grad school. She understood and she knew racism was, right in front of her. The state of North Carolina was like, you can't come, you're not going to get your graduate degrees in North Carolina after leaving A&T. You got to go out of state. In my case, they're never going to say that. But she was like, be aware of those things. So Dr. Guthrie really was hugely important for that. And then Dr. George Brown. And I really do look at Dr. Brown. I need to email her because I learned a lot about TRIO because of her. But I also learned just a lot about just how everything we do impacts the work that we do. And so there were days when, she'll just start talking about just some of her past experiences. She'll talk about time at Knoxville College. And just how just other things outside of what we do every day impact how we do life. So those three women, I really think I look to as key mentors in the work that we do. In my present day, I look to our director, our overall supervisor, Deborah Green, because I got to give it to her. She took a chance on me. She truly took a chance on me. And I'm thankful for her leadership and just what she's done for us. But if you ever sit down and talk to her about just something that you're thinking about, some vision, some plan, she's going to say, okay, let's do this, but let's talk about what could be some of the potential roadblocks, obstacles, this how we work around it. She really has a strategic mind, and we're blessed to have that. And I really hope one day as I grow up, I can start seeing and thinking and looking strategically about things like that.
That's it for me.
Okay. All right. What's y'all got next for me? Should I be scared?
No.
Why would you be scared?
Because it's the same way that I'm telling y'all to be scared when I do this or that on y'all. Hey, I do believe in karma, so like I don't try to push y'all so far because I know it will come back to me.
Mm-hmm.
You all are done. It's the one.
Who wants to start first?
So this is
already.
Biscuit Bill or Rise?
Biscuit Bill, hands down.
Do that.
Rise, I mean, they're good biscuits. I respect them, but it's nothing like Biscuitville. When you walk in, you can see the biscuit being made when you walk in. Deborah and Mel, they joke about it. There's, I'm not that Southern, but I'm Southern, and so when I start talking about biscuits, it's just something different comes out.
Okay.
I've planned trips around trying to get to Biscuitville before they close.
So when are you bringing Biscuitville to Columbia?
I'm not. Well, I mean, they don't franchise that far either. Just for the record, we've looked into it. We looked into trying to franchise Biscuit Bill. And we looked to see if Cookout do a franchise. The closest Cookout to us is in Fredericksburg. But if they had a Cookout, Lord, the few goals I have towards trying to lose weight would be gone. A Cookout tray is dangerous.
Mm.
You know what a Cookout tray is, right, Rashad?
Yes, and the huge teeth.
Hey,
Yeah.
I mean, when
You can't be
You're on to
Cookout.
some real.
Sure don't. Not now.
There you go.
when you could go to Cookout, your side is a quesadilla and some chicken nuggets.
Yeah. It's different. You can get a corn dog for a side.
Oh, Karen may not
Do
like
y'all-
Cookout.
Do y'all ever drink?
I don't know what Cookout is.
So, Carrie, next time you go to Atlanta or you drive south, you need to stop at
It's been a
Cookout.
minute.
I don't know what full vegetarian options they got.
None.
They got some. I mean,
Lettuce. They got lettuce, tomatoes that
Lettuce.
they put on the sandwich.
Funny.
in some cookouts they got fried okra.
Oh wow.
Oh,
Fried okra.
Like there were, so in Fredericksburg there are two cookouts. There's one in Spotsylvania County and there's one in Fredericksburg City. And I found out that the one in Spotsylvania County didn't have fried okra. So I actually left there mid-order. Like I wanted okra.
I want okra. Okay, Brandon. So you're given two options, right? You let's just put it in the atmosphere. You already finished your doctoral degree. You are now Dr. Bellamy, and you are presented with two options. You can take $100,000 and automatically be a university president for 2 years, or you could take $85,000 and you can be a consultant for any HBCU of your choice for 10 years.
It's a hard one.
Wow, that's a hard one.
Take the home run, Brandon.
Which one is it?
You know? And y'all all know I want to be a college president.
Mm-hmm. But you can only be a college president for 2 years.
Right. And so I would take the consulting role because knowing that, based on your limitation, you told me I only got 2 years to be the president. And I don't want to make the assumption that I can get another presidency after that point. But if I got 10 years as a consultant at an institution, and I'll tell you this now, if that opportunity ever comes up, it's going to be the University of the District of Columbia. UDC, people who, if you'll follow me on Twitter, randomly I'll put stuff out about UDC because I really do believe that people don't believe in UDC. They don't understand the value of an urban land grant. They don't recognize it as HBCU. Prior to the fiscal cliff in the District of Columbia in the early 90s under Mayor Barry, UDC had about 10,000 students. It was almost the largest HBCU. So if I can get 10 years as a consultant and my job is just to help them grow, I'm gonna do it.
Okay.
Because, they're the Firebirds. They're always rising. We could do some amazing things at UDC. And who knows? After 10 years, I can still be a college president somewhere. You never said I couldn't do that then.
Yeah, I respect that decision because if you have 10 years of consulting and then you move on to be a president, you already know how to move and shake. You've had 10 years of lessons and, wins and, putting things to the test, see how they work. So that's a good choice. I would choose to be a consultant.
Well, I mean, this is something I've actually thought about just for me professionally. The consulting life is different. You have some, ideally you have some defined metrics you got to work on.
Yeah.
It'll be kind of cool to do that, go out and have to, make your own money for just a little bit. I've never done that. I've worked in higher ed. I've known what I needed to do, but I never had to go out and solicit business. So I think it'll be kind of cool to have that challenge.
Okay.
If you were a president,
Right.
If you were a president, and you needed, I guess, a COO, Would you select Dr. William Harvey, Hampton University, or Dr. Harold Martin, North Carolina A&T?
Ooh, why'd you got to choose that hard one? Dr. Martin, and that's a straight. And it's not because he's A&T's chancellor. Dr. Martin, if you look at his experience, when he graduated from A&T, got his master's, he became faculty, and he grew through all the administrative ranks. So he's been a department chair, he's been an associate dean, a dean. He was the vice chancellor of academic affairs at A&T, mid-90s, before becoming chancellor at Winston State, and then the senior vice president of the University of Central North Carolina. He's done every level to then come back on A&T. So I know he knows how to run the whole show. My thing about Harvey, Harvey was, for a little bit of time, I want to say at Talladega, like he really didn't do a lot of time in his early career building up to that point. So when he got that job at Hampton, I mean, I know he can run the show, but I want somebody that I can say I know and I can pick out at each point of their career they've done it. So Dr. Martin over Dr. Harvey. If Dr. Harvey's watching or hears this, love you dearly. I want to do your program one day, but I'm going with Dr. Martin.
And also, Dr. Martin is a brother of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, the coldest and oldest fraternity there is. So that's another good reason as well.
Isn't Dr. Harvey and Alpha also?
I got to look into that. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm only one of those smart Greeks. I only join honor societies. So, I had no dog in this fight.
Oh, he is. So, hey, that's probably why I chose him as the other option.
All right, Carrie, you have something for me?
Yeah, mine is fun.
Uh-oh.
As a former DC resident myself, I ask you, although mine was way long ago, H Street or Adams Morgan?
I love both. H Street is so much closer to my house, but I'm going to Adams Morgan.
Really?
I'm still going
Why?
Adams Morgan. The current development, H Street, streetcar and all that is nice and all, but I still feel, especially as you get closer to Union Station, it is still very generic. You have all of your big chains coming in, especially on that western side. So you got Giant, Whole Foods, I got Chipotle, you got all the chains. But when you go to Adams Morgan, still in the heart of Adams Morgan, it's all local business. Jack Rose, Dine Saloon is still my favorite go-to spot, period. And the work that the owner of Jack Rose is doing right now to support his staff, I applaud. Like, they're selling off the nation's largest collection of bourbons and whiskeys at this point to be able to pay their staff. There's a couple little bookstores in Adams Morgan that I really like going to. So I really just love just the different vibe of it.
Make me miss DC.
You can always come back.
I know. I'm not
Just,
gonna have your commute though.
My commute is really not bad though.
Mhm.
It's not as good as yours, but it's not bad.
You gotta say I like mine a little better.
Stephanie, you're talking. I can't hear you.
I can't hear you.
Sorry, I have a fun one. So out of all of us, you've known Mel and Deb the longest. Who would you give the most sarcastic to?
Oh, Mel, straight up.
Mel?
Oh yeah,
Straight up.
definitely.
Like that was not even a comparison. My Pisces sister, like, Mel is awesome. I've told her before she needs to go ahead and to do a stand-up routine.
I would go.
Like, she's amazing. She needs, like, between either doing a stand-up routine, doing some skits. I've told y'all, I got to sit beside Mel in meetings and not across from her.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say, yeah, the most sarcastic. But probably also, while she might be the most sarcastic, she'll do probably the most for any student. So it's like, I know what we all do a lot of work, but you hear her talk about her babies. She'll fight somebody over her babies. You don't do them wrong.
Yeah.
Don't do her babies wrong, because you cross Melody Gale. Whew, Lord, that might be a career.
Right. Okay.
All right. Y'all got anything else for me?
I'm being good somehow. Trying to keep you on the straight and narrow.
That's good, because
Yes.
I could easily go off.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, it's we have 155. So let's call this a wrap. I want to thank y'all for joining us for our third show. This is cool. I love doing this. I know that the feedback we've gotten from my staff, faculty and staff around campus, for those who've seen the video, they're like, yo, that's kind of awesome. You got a dope team. I just want to thank y'all for just being who y'all are and just being present and rocking with us.
Thank you, Uncle B.
Where did the Tyrannosaurus Rex come from? This is what happens when Rashad.
My son. That's why I was on mute.
Hey. Oh, go ahead and let him speak.
To our students, to everyone who's watching us, if you got feedback for us, email us, trio@howardcc.edu. We'd love to hear your feedback. To our students, please engage with us. We love y'all. We want to see y'all.
Tyrannosaurus Rex loves you too.
We miss y'all. The work that we do this for y'all. Because if I'm doing it for myself, I'll still be in bed right now.
At 2?
2 o'clock?
No.
I would have my laptop in the bed right now.
Oh, okay, I get it.
So next Tuesday at 1 o'clock, we'll be interviewing Carrie. So I'm really excited about that. We're gonna go way back. We're gonna talk about, what were them days like at Spelman? Did you know every sun sign when you walk around campus? Those type of things. So watch your trio calendar for that. And just remember, y'all, there are 3 S's in success. Peace. Bye, y'all.
Bye.